Hey everybody, this is the 1672 crew. I'm Dave Hatt, owner of Jingasa Games and chief designer of 1672.
I'm Matthew Duffy. I am the guy that fixes things and occasionally breaks things.
I am Benjamin Paredes. I am the beta game tester and villain creator.
I am Rhubezhal Parody. I am the monster creator and game designer.
I'm Edward Osling, slave labor and/or I guess co-creator of the game too.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Let's go with that.
And I'm Anthony Martin, art director and project lead.
Sitting in tonight is our actual overall manager and overlord, Anthony Hatt. So if you hear him bitching at us, then you'll understand that we're not doing a good enough job. Is that correct, sir? Alright, he did not bitch, so it must be correct. Alright, so this is our first attempt at a internal interview with a design session. The subject of tonight's session is going to be a review of Sunday's playtest. We've been doing a stress test on upper level gaming, but it involves a full test of combat.
Okay.
Pleasing the boss. Combat, social dynamics, survival, profession skills, and the use of trappings and materials. So it's a really good stress test. Last game session, we had a big fight. We ended the session roughly halfway through it. It was generally, I think overall I'm told, I don't think it was 4 hours. I think it was actually like a 3-hour fight as a massive stress test against a horde of horrifying raccoons, essentially.
Cross between that, raccoons, squirrels, and who knows, maybe a guinea pig and an ocelot was thrown in there. Who knows? There were so many of them that was thrown at us last night.
So, without further ado, what do you need? Yeah, really? Just throwing stuff? Woody, you are the primary developer of the two creatures that I used when I ran the game session last night. I used one creature called the Night Thieves, and the other one called the Vermintide. Together, they seem like they worked pretty well as a team. I actually overdid the Night Thieves a lot, and probably could have dropped something a little heavier. I think as the GM perspective, I had too many chuds and not enough attention grabbers, and so it became this awful grind. But they did provide me a ton of nifty tricks, so I thank you for designing the two creatures we got to use.
Good job.
Here.
Keep talking, guys.
Should I explain these two monsters?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay, so the Night Thieves
Live.
came to me as a sort of an idea. They're not actually based off of anything other than partially where the red fern grows. They're supposed to be sort of evil raccoons mixed with imagery of Miyazaki black dust mites. And that's
It's pretty unique.
yeah. Their only real ability is to take other people's things. So, alone, they're very basic, they're very mundane, they aren't scary on their own, but with friends who are actually threatening, they can debilitate people and actually be part of the threat.
If it wasn't for the freaking players keeping them in the zone where they actually stole the crap, I've gotten away with, what, 4 items at one point? Oh, 3. One of them didn't succeed at stealing.
Yeah,
So.
I had nothing for you to steal.
It was a firearm and 2 swords.
Yeah, I stole a gun and a couple, and a hammer. That stupid
Yes.
light hammer.
Oh yeah, from the priest.
Yeah, I got the priest's dumb hammer. He forgot about it initially. Then he's like, "Oh crap! I've only got ranged attacks," and so he started stomping on the little night thieves, trying to get his stupid hammer back. It was amazing.
And then the Vermintide are actually based off of a Black Forest legend, correct? Where you
Yeah.
found that?
Yeah.
Dave told me about the Black Forest legend of the squirrels who basically kidnap people, skin them, hang up their skins in the trees, and eat them. And so that seemed really scary, and squirrels are my spirit animal, so I decided to make a monster off of them. They became a very large brute squad of very scary, potentially unending monsters if the GM is given enough drama dice.
And pack rats.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh look, now they're back to full strength.
Yeah, agreed. So I got the ones that it was the ones that were chewing on your character. V. It was Ivan, right?
God, yeah.
I managed to get one of them whittled down because Ivan's playing a Serpenti, so he's got good combat output. tied him up for quite a while with him. Now, normal Brute Squad's five members. The Vermintide start at 10, and they whittled the squad down to just 2 members. I got to spend a drama die, restock their entire membership. And so I'm pretty sure that the character Ivan's going to be busy for a while longer. The trick is even though the crew still felt confident halfway through that, I did take note there was a lot of damage actually done to everybody. I think I did final total at like 5 dramatic wounds in the opening gambit of that fight.
Yeah.
So that's not bad as far as the output goes. Plus, it was the first test of the basically the EL system for the game. I've been playing around with the concept of dividing the individual players' points by 100 rounding down, and using that to determine the maximum threat I can throw in a single scene. Using that method, it seemed like it worked rather well.
Which is good. Means that's working. Also, to help your imagery, when I say squirrels, they're actually about the size of small dogs, medium, large dogs. So it's not just midgets running around eating you.
Yeah.
New York sewer rats. Got it.
I think I described them as twice the size of my baby.
Yeah.
My baby is roughly 25 pounds.
Yeah.
So those would be 50-pound squirrels.
Know how clingy he is.
50-pound, very
angry
angry squirrel dust mites.
Oh man.
Ed, you sounded like you had something to say. Sorry.
Oh, in the setting that you were doing this beta test in is set in the area of Rhubezhal. Very scary forest kind of feel. You were mentioning Black Forest, but I figure I'd give a little bit more background on that. It's a forest full of darkness and taint.
Yes, fact.
And the nice part about the reason why you guys selected it was it gives a good opportunity to display how combat works, even though that's not exactly the full breadth of the game.
No, I mean it's actually the best playground for martial characters because it's a big scary forest based off the Black Forest, Germany on crack. So you've got something roughly the size of, I want to say, Central Europe that's all covered in one large forested area that is filled with the evil bad guys of all various sorts. All the way from dust mite size to mountain sized creatures that you can array yourself against in a constant struggle to survive. So Rhubezhal is the ultimate let's go beat things into the ground, knowing that you can never actually beat them all.
So not the best place for me to bring a social character then.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. I have social stuff set up for the campaign as well, because there's still going to be survivors, encampments. You're going to run across blackjacks. There's a group of people that are basically lumbering the forest. They're a little crazy, but they are civilized, so there will be opportunities for that to provide social combat.
There's hidden value in these woods.
Turning their ever-present hate into, commerce. I hate you, tree. $10. I hate you, tree. God, $10.
Gotta eat somehow.
And I was already trying to make squirrel kebabs in that session as well, because all I did with Serpenti was just impale them with my stick and just keep them there.
Don't eat monsters.
Or harpoon, specifically.
That's gonna be a bad day.
Bad day.
Oh, really? Why did you explain this to us, Woody?
I actually don't have any, set down thing for what eating a monster would do to you. But if you want rules, I guess I'll think of something. But it's gonna be bad.
Other than that, I just say leave it to the GM's description and just have him have fun with it.
Hashtag, what do you give us monster rules? Hashtag,
okay.
squirrels need more rules.
Just beat Davia. Monster rules will fall out.
Okay, so the other thing we did with this stress test is we were working with 500-point characters. So when we're talking about the scale of combat, it's far higher than you can expect in regular gameplay. To put it in perspective, you start the game off with a 250-point build that helps you get your entire background, any schools you wanted to do, all of your traits, all of your stats, all of that's bought with a 250. The number is not arbitrary. It's designed specifically to prevent certain things from happening at character creation, but still provide a ton of leeway when making your character.
Yeah.
The campaign at 500 points represents roughly 20 completed adventures Each adventure taking 3 to 5 game sessions on average. So it's a hell of a ways down the road.
Very seasoned characters. And it's worth noting that we designed the professions during the stress test, so they weren't necessarily included yet.
Correct.
However, the idea behind this was to get an idea of challenge rating, the equivalent to it. So that's why Manhandle Baby some more. That we went with mostly martial builds.
Yeah. Although stress testing involving Tony, your social character, Eric,
Yeah.
he's half dedicated socialite. Just the way you did it was also sort of flexible.
Yeah.
The social aspect of Eric, his character, is the shadow, as I understand. Yeah, calling that a socialite's like, basically calling Jeffrey Dahmer a pacifist.
Well, actually, Bruce Banner is a very civilized individual, normally.
That's true. That's a very good assessment.
Yeah, the reason that I created the shadow was to see what would happen if you got the menacing socialite shadow up as far as he could go, and then see where that would lead.
Yeah, because you're playing master.
Which is an interesting take from the standard. V plays Hulk Smash.
The Night Stalker!
Night Stalker! He is the bat.
Whatevs, I proved how to make Batman. It was great. I get to walk around saying I'm the Knight.
Well, hold on. Don't get too haughty. You're playing 2 different versions of Batman, because V's also playing a different version of Shadow. We have 2 of them in the party. So we have Socialite Batman, who comes up and gruffly yells at you, and then we've got Spawn, essentially, for lack of a better term. The Batman who has the bat gun with the bat grapnel, with the bat flying, with the bat cape. He's hella mobility oriented, a lot more combat focused.
Now, there's something to mention. Sorry, I won't mention that then. Now, have we actually explained to people what the Shadow is?
The Shadow, who designed the Shadow?
You designed the
We
Shadow
designed
based
it.
off of a concept
it was a Gestalt. So, take it away.
I know where it came from, but mostly it was the ability to modify your character, but you take the horrific payout that you taint yourself as you keep. I think we were looking at Maho and
The L5R stuff, yeah.
yeah.
Spider School, things like that.
And from 7C the what the heck was
Mad
it?
Jack Redcap?
Roughly the seat.
Oh yeah, the Sheep Fighters.
The concept mechanically would be, here is the most powerful school in the game. Try as hard as you can not to use it, because it will mess with you.
Yep.
And mess with you hard, and mess with you a lot if you use it too often.
The school has great payouts that you can augment your stats quite a bit through it, but the downside is that eventually they'll come back to bite you in the form of a villain that represents the shadow that's trying to stalk and hunt you.
Yeah.
Thematically, it's an untrained werewolf.
Yeah, it's the guy who got bit, essentially. Well, thematically, it's a person who's born in the Blackwood, because they're the only people that be shadows. But for your players' first-timers, it really is the I got bit by a werewolf last week.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's wrong with me. You don't lose control while you use shadow powers, but the drawback, like mentioned, is Threat 5 villain. Put that in perspective, I threw a horde of Threat 3 and Threat 1 monsters at my advanced level party, and I'm chewing them, literally, to death with these small chittering animals.
Critters!
A Threat 5 villain can maximize the mechanic of the dice pool, and is nigh unkillable unless you run them out of drama dice, which is one of the cool mechanics of the game, is that you want to spend drama dice on henchmen and brutes, because it's more efficient to get rid of them, because they tend to build up damage and stymie you and all that. But every time I have drama dice, I can drop a villain in the scene and very successfully raffle stomp a party. And once I run out of those drama dice, I run out of cool cheats, is what they're called. the cheats allow me to do exactly what they say. I spend a drama die to get an effect above and beyond anything reasonable in game mechanics, all of which are listed, thank God, but all of which are cheesy as balls. Like not dying, escaping the scene, no matter what the situation, are some of the examples.
Now, bear in mind, a lot of people are used to a concept like drama dice and narrative roleplay. However, ours is different because there's a limited pool of them.
Yeah, actually.
It doesn't exist in other games. So there's very few ways to add more to the pool, but they transfer in between the players and the GM in a fluid way, so that if the players are smart, they can think about starving the GM from their, and hoarding them for a bit, so they can make sure that something goes off.
Yeah. There's a lot of opportunities to transfer dice between each other and the GM, so it's made to be a fluid table.
Yeah, it's a give and take.
I have noticed, though, on the high-end stress test, there's a lot less drama dice movement because the mechanics and the straight raw ability to roll dice is more than making up for a lot of their troubles. Although one of the next stress tests is I'm going to throw one of those the big moose things. I forget what we're calling them things.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember.
They're going to get 5 of those in the face.
Okay.
Spooky moose.
Those
I'm
are threat 5
excited to see how
henchmen.
those guys work.
2 members of the group over here.
We had last I
we heard
recall.
nothing.
Last I recall, our initial group, the entry level characters, our characters with 3 or 4 adventures under their belt, had trouble dealing with 1 threat 5 henchman.
Yes. You did overcome him. I think at the scene, because that was the funny part. I built Lord Rylos as an Amandrian Serpenti. And so he's all this martial build, and I threw cheats at him, because one of the things a villain can do is they can offer cheats to their subordinates. And so I spent, I forget how, 5 cheats on this guy to make him...
8 cheats.
It was 8 cheats?
Yeah.
On this guy to make him borked as all crap. And he was rolling people in hand-to-hand, he was going toe-to-toe with the Serpenti in the party, and he was grading him down. However, the party didn't beat him with martial combat.
Welcome to social.
Which, by the way, was glorious and amazing to see the mousiest player I've ever played a game with, which is Dave Small. When I walked in after doing stuff, and he was standing up, animated, throwing out insults and just on top of it. I'm used to that guy just slinking into the corner until it comes time to stab stuff, and then he gets excited.
Yeah. The social combat really woke Dave up, which was nice.
To see a guy break out of his shell because of something that we designed.
Yeah, that's badass, right? It means we're working. Woo!
Yay!
Alright, so let's discuss for a little bit why that combat works, since we've got several people there. You can chime in whenever you want. Remember,
he hasn't broken anything right now.
I know.
You can ask
broken.
questions.
God, Duffy, why are you so quiet, Duffy?
I'm just listening.
I think he's amazed at how many times I'm turning this child upside down.
Yeah, Ed's slowly turning my child like so much of that, what do you call that meat that they get off at the shops?
Yeah. Like one of those Brazilian barbecue joints.
There you go, yeah.
He's adapting him to the life of a bat.
My child, for his part, is somehow adhesing himself to Ed, so this is quite a show.
It's an arm workout.
But, alright, so...
You have to be careful. He's going to start walking, and whenever he starts walking, he's going to learn to run.
Great.
Not for me.
Pretty sure the child's natural state is upside down.
But back to social combat. Really quick, since we're on that subject, Lord Rylos and his attacks. Taking on a Threat 5 henchman in any... Wow.
Yeah, it's about like that.
He wants to be upside down.
Taking on a Threat 5 henchman in any theater is dangerous. They're made to threaten parties and kill individual party members. Alright, Kelly, you gotta calm that down.
He's having too much fun.
Apparently. Upside down. Okay, sweet.
Yeah, because the Threat 5 henchman is the highest thing in the game that is not a villain.
Yes. It doesn't have the resilience of a villain, but it can pack just as much punch. The trick is, even though Lord Rylos didn't have anything tooled for social combat, he was still rolling 5k5 in a system where the maximum dice pool is 10k10. Most of my players were averaging 6K3. So just by raw power of dice,
Raw power dice, what?
just by raw power of dice,
He was overcoming us.
yes, he was. The cool trick behind that was the team tactics that developed, which is where Dave got excited. Dave couldn't touch it. Like, his character had one social skill to justify speaking, I think. I think that was the only
That's
reason.
typical.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? So I think he was, no joke, like a 5K2 on his social checks.
Yeah.
So there was no way in hell Dave was going to take Lord Rylos straight on in a social duel. But Dave was able to picket fence that guy with tags. So he kept rolling and creating all of these tags in the scene and modifying tags in the scene. A couple of the players were, actually.
Yeah, I was as well.
Yeah, that's right, because you were backing everybody up. And we called it picket fencing because they just sat there and every round they're just dropping or modifying this array of tags that just appeared in all the scene. And then all the actual social combatants that were willing to brave Rylos were using and burning those tags to get dice bonuses so that they can overcome his 5K5. Oh, God, it was horrendous.
Eventually, we streamlined it so we could Voltron.
It was pretty cool watching all the initiatives. Because they check initiatives.
Yeah.
You bastards went and made me choke on my own freaking words. It was amazing. But there was also multiple targets in the scene. It wasn't just Lord Rylos having some sort of sparring match verbally with players. There was a senator that was of higher status than anybody there. A couple onlookers. As well as the Lord Rylos, and you guys had some supporters as well. And there was other side shenanigans going on that a couple players had to like batten down and make sure they didn't get out of control. And
Yeah, the attempts of House Rylos to sabotage our meeting.
oh, come on, they're nice, happy people.
They tried to poison all of us.
I
If you
give.
were a Mondrian, that would
Hey, you weren't getting shot with arrows all the time.
That was Dave. Dave shot me a lot.
Every time.
It was great. It was great.
Well, somebody was listening to the crazy lady in their head, so.
Sounds like a personal problem.
Well, Walter's a special boy. Not as special as somebody. Tony is a big fan of, as a player.
Walter is nice to you, Moose.
Yeah, Walter is just really was it Seki?
Yes.
Yeah, it was Seki. Tony goes through characters a lot because he keeps drinking Kool-Aid whenever I offer it to him.
Oh, it's tasty.
One of the bits of Kool-Aid I offered his character Seki, who has the ability to control storms because he's a Tufan Raja, was to join House Rylos in their fight against the player characters.
Why?
Why?
Because Tony always joins the cult.
It's-
LCMA?
This action culminated early on. Goodness, kiddo, we're trying to do a podcast. This culminated early on with his character's retirement because he was no longer a hero. And then later on, his actions led to the assassination of the senator that was in the scene that was trying to bring law and order to the island they were on. Yeah, he murked the crap out of that guy off camera. So,
Way to be a team player, Tony.
What ifs? His ship exploded. It worked.
you blew up a senator's ship, Tony. No, you didn't even do it. You did the actions to make it happen.
And then I got over it and made a new character.
Yeah, hey, somebody has a character mortality rate higher than mine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
Somebody
3
does.
so far?
Yeah.
That's
Wait,
3
you
in this
managed
test?
to die more than Duffy.
Retired.
No, I haven't died. I've retired.
In a game that's almost impossible to die. Well, I mean, this game type is almost impossible to die.
Well, until we nailed down social combat, Dave almost went completely insane in one attack. That was great.
That's always fun.
Yeah, that was one of
I
the
almost
things
got killed
had
by
to fix.
squirrels.
Had to fix social combat because
I was going to take 3 dramatic wounds on top of my... Sorry.
Oh yeah, the Freen cannon that was stopped by the priest.
Shut up. Duffy's talking. Let Duffy speak.
That's so rare.
Yeah, before I fixed social combat, there was this possibility of players going insane on the first action, and going crazy dead and not coming back. So that was a problem. It needed to be fixed.
It was a pretty obvious fix.
Well, yeah, well, it was nice because
It was a streamlined fix.
Dave wanted to make everyone go crazy.
I didn't think that keeping all the dice you roll was bad.
Making somebody
didn't
go
think that
batshit
Ono was
crazy
bad.
should be a lot harder.
Oh,
Dave
no,
Small
doesn't do a lot of
survived.
damage. It just keeps 4
Dave
dice.
Small never survives. He's always a little bit deader on the inside.
Well, he is our Dave Small. We love him. Alright, well, social combat obviously got ironed out. With the system where you have to be involved in a conversation, which has a mechanic where, like, say, if I want to get in a conversation with Tony over here, I go, hey, I gotta make a roll, get Tony invested in the conversation. It's basically like a half-ass attack, where I roll against Tony, and if Tony's in, he's in, right? If Tony wants to just be in the conversation, he can opt to have a 0 for his defense and just be in. So you can get your allies in the conversations with just their permission. You can get enemies in the conversation with their permission. If you don't have the permission, you can still drag their happy butts in there anyway. That's not enough to really do it by itself. All that does is it allows you to use your social attacks and your strange social mechanics to your advantage. Because you can't do that unless you're in a conversation. This prevents people from talking to, you know, murder monsters that Woody creates and making them understand just how bad they are for the environment.
Yeah, that was also a problem.
They do understand, and they're happy about it. Well, from a certain point of view, they are the environment. So.
Death Moose feels sad about not contributing to charity drive. Just saying. We do now have a system to prevent Death Moose from feeling sad about not contributing to charity drive.
Which
Instead,
is a good thing.
yes. Death Moose, when they talk to you, has only one way to speak. Death Moose only speaks in intimidation. And you respond generally with intimidation back, or get out of that conversation. Oh, no, that's a good one. Not the Death Moose, those the praying trees.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They use the intimidation to make fear tags on everybody. They can do dramatic fear wounds.
Oh, is this the giant mantis thing that I was working on?
Yeah.
Oh, that actually turned into a thing. All right.
It used the terror mechanic that we built into it with intimidation to basically use the dramatic wound it caused, the social dramatic wound, to keep you in place while it mauled you to death.
Yes. Death trees.
We topped that off with essentially with a cheat arrival. So they didn't necessarily teleport, but they can arrive in the scene because, you know, they're pretending to be trees. And then I actually, in that fight, managed to split the party because there was a crabapple grove, and the party's like, "They look so pretty. We should go get supplies."
And death tree.
Yeah, I put one right in the middle of their camp. It was great.
Wait, your party decided to eat something growing in the Blackwood,
I described it as not being tainted.
and
Much.
they believed you.
Actually, it wasn't. We actually got supplies out of it.
Wait,
And we got a priest to bless the food.
And the thing is, as a GM, I was perfectly happy providing non-tainted food for their supplies on their expedition through the horrific Deathwood that happened to have been planted by the mantis, by the praying trees, so that it would attract travelers.
But thus your party's retarded.
They wanted supplies. It was handily there. And as part of the trick, I even offered free
Here, guys,
drama
free
dice.
lunch.
I did. And I threw in supplies, and I offered free drama dice to anybody who wanted to be tied up searching the grove to get those materials.
You know, cookies.
Aneurysm. Aneurysm.
So the praying trees live in the dark wood?
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
So yeah,
This
that
place
happened.
They actually replaced dryads.
Was it James
As
the
they
Red
should,
Shirt?
because they
Or
would
whatever.
eat them.
What was his name? He didn't last long enough.
He didn't have a name. We called him Red Shirt.
They bought a Threat One Henchman guide.
What?
A
What
Sherpa?
were they expecting? Well, he didn't just say he's called Red Shirt, so they were expecting what they got, I'm assuming.
To describe the effectiveness of the second Treeman's monster and their threat to the camp, the first thing I did was attack him once.
And remove him from existence.
I killed him on the first attack. There were bits of Red Shirt everywhere. I didn't think I could do it all at one because
He's only resolve 1.
I figured maybe he could, and then I rolled the 1K1 for his soak, and I realized my error. Oops.
Yeah.
They're designed to murder people,
They do a really good job of that.
which
The
is
brain
good.
trees,
I'm
stuff.
happy about that.
So, lesson to be learned about Resolve 1.
Yes, Resolve 1.
Resolve not dubstep.
No. But, Resolve 1 brute squats. Those are cool.
Yeah. How many Resolve 1 brute squads did you have?
I had too many. I had 6, and I only used 4 of them. But those were the night. Oh no, those are the trash pandas. What do we call them? The little
The night thieves?
the night thieves.
Trash pandas. Yeah.
So it was just one of those cool things, though. So the to the trash pandas even that whole 2-round escapade where the whole party is being swarmed by, no joke, like at that point 6 of the murder marmosets, the Vermintide.
Yeah.
Like they're in the zone with them, actively trying to kill everybody. But I had 3 of my players focus their entire attention at containing and eliminating the goddamn night thieves.
What can I say? They're scary.
I had people.
They're gonna steal all your shit.
They spent interrupts to block the exit of 2 members of a 1-threat squad because those 2 little bastards had a handgun.
Oh,
Handguns
that's
is
trash
special.
pandas with a gun.
It's serious business when it comes to trappings.
Right? It is.
No one wants to lose their gun. Those are expensive now.
I also kind of like the general feel. I didn't mention it at the table, but it was sort of funny to watch. I was describing a village that they'd gone into. It's a Ludoc village, right? And it has a small shadow lodge at the edge of it, just to give a feel for the culture. And I was like, but there's a small opportunity to buy and sell here. There's a market. And I watched everybody just kind of gloss over it. And then I just basically was like giving the doe eyes until somebody like bid on it. And then I described the primitive technology in the market, and they're like, it's cool. I'm going to give these NPCs a little bit of our extra supplies. It looks like they need it. I was like, for my GM side, I was like, I offered you an opportunity to go get gear. Maybe shore up your supply. You're giving them supplies because you feel bad for them. That was amazing. They gave them all their
I
leftovers.
was too busy making shish kebabs.
Ah, yeah, you were doing this crazy stuff. And so, who was it? Was it you, or it was you that went up to
Yeah.
the lodge, right?
Yeah.
You went to go talk to the shadows, and the shadows are...
Yeah, because Ethan flubbed it.
Yeah. Ethan, go up and see if you know the culture of these shadow people. I got, was it 8?
Yeah, it was
9?
terrible.
It was awful. Base TN in the game's 20. He throws his mighty pool of dice and gets a grand total of 9. They mistake him for a Bonte. He's from Stein.
Builds
And
character.
then they murder him.
They were not terribly happy. Then this guy goes up.
Rolls like a 32.
It's like, oh yeah, he's got like the gang signs they throw off in the dark wood. And then derps it later when he asks some really dumb questions.
Whatevs, I wanted to buy their cool clothes.
You
They
want to be in
were
their club.
cool.
Yeah.
He wanted to join their cult, even though it's not technically a cult.
That's how you get in.
Classic Tony.
Dude.
What? Just for when I run into the next set of them.
You don't exactly have, the qualifications.
It's not quite stolen valor, but it's posing as all balls.
Oh,
Tony-
who would that be? A shigger?
Oh.
Tony's philosophy is when in Rome, become a Roman.
And then drink the Kool-Aid whenever you can.
No, his philosophy is when in
Frequent-
Japan become a Roman.
Still makes you a weeaboo.
One in Japan, poison the boss. Sell his lands off to the next villain NPC. And call it a day as a hero.
Hail to you, Matt.
Whatevs. Look at how many Amandrids I killed.
Those don't count for a kill count for you. Retiring your character to murder like 30 people, not counting.
Totally counts.
So I heard something about a or the not mermaid grabbing somebody, dragging them down, and then this special bastard over here using a harpoon to rescue someone.
Oh,
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
People fishing.
Brilliant. That went over well, I hope.
So
Yeah.
I made a just to set up the scene real quick before I hand it off to you, V. Woody and I had discussed monsters, and this one I made a slight modification to before I gave it to the party because I needed to adjust it for the party level. I think it actually came out okay.
I actually like your change, and I think we should go with it.
It was a Swedish mermaid.
Yeah, I think it's Czech.
A Czech mermaid. It's
It makes that noise in real life. It doesn't sing it.
Well, I
yet.
can't talk.
So the big deal is that
Fish on top, woman on bottom.
it looks like a haggard old man that lives off in a river area or swampy area, and it just it comes up and it does bad things to you. But the trick is we modified it to where we had it have babies with Cthulhu and an anglerfish, and made it a lot
And a
scarier.
lionette.
So, the guy turns out to be the little glowy bit, like on the anglerfish. He's actually connected to a gaping maw below the ground of a creature that digs holes in a little cavernous space that fills with local river water. And then it uses those holes to go fishing for, animals and the like. It uses the guy to attract people, and then sucks the people down the holes, drowns them, and eats them.
Underwater Sarlacc pit.
Underwater Sarlacc pit, right? Now, the interesting tidbit was when V got involved after we nabbed a couple people with it, and they got to experience Sarlacc firsthand. I'll set up for you, V.
So I saw like 2 or 3 people go down. I'm like, okay, I'm trying to look up, see what drug them down first. That's my priority. When that fails, okay, let's see where I can miss. So as a Serpenti, he has a harpoon with rope attached that allows to transfer zones. So what I did was throw a harpoon intentionally right next to a person, so in case they needed a rope, they can grab it. And as it turns out, it backfired. And it hit a couple of the PCs as a side effect.
Well, if at first you don't succeed, right?
People fishing.
Which it is to get the people fishing, but slight flesh runs aside. Worst case scenario is we get it patched up, but I could at least pull them out. That's the intended plan. Well, things went from bad to worse, and eventually I had to end up like diving in after them, trying to find whatever we're trying to go after. And used up both of my harpoons to transfer from zone to zone, as we've discussed in the video cast earlier. Eventually, found people there. Nobody used the tags I made for them. All they could complain about is, why are you trying to throw harpoons at me? I'm not. I'm trying to make a, quote, lifeline.
Let me stop you there, V. Impaling somebody is not helping.
Actually, very technically, it was.
Yeah, technically was. It was crazy pants, but it worked.
Yeah.
It was a bad plan, but it succeeded, and all the party members came out, like, all limbs intact. Nothing was, like, gnawed off or anything.
And you were one of the guys, it was
They're just
you
slightly fainter.
and Kyle, right, that set up the final for the
Yeah.
actual bog hag,
Yeah.
where they pulled the dude out of the water.
The Serpenti hit his mark, turned up, and realized when he tried to pull the hag, and didn't unrealized that the thing was tongue, felt the entire floor shaking. And we didn't know why. So
It was not good times.
You
it's
guys
the
get out of
one
that
got
situation.
away.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah, we totally got out. It was great.
Maybe a few holes, but at least in one piece.
That was after the priest worked its magic and shut off the entirety of our bad guy.
God, there's a school that's going to drive me nuts through the entire project. The damn preacher. Ugh. I think that school's changed, 5 times?
Yeah, something like
easily.
Oh, and it's going through another one right now.
Yep.
Is that somebody he's trying to go after?
That's fine. I got an eye on him. It's fine. The boss is
No,
currently wandering the floor to make
full.
sure. Oh, it was full.
You're trying.
Hilarious.
Duffy, here.
He's displeased.
I'm out of hands.
Well, just for a point of reference to everyone else, the boss is displeased with me and threw my soda on the floor. He is showing his displeasure. Ugh.
Well,
Either that, you're trying to get him introduced to caffeine.
Let's not say that too loud.
No, God, no. Kid, you're barely handling fructose. I don't know what the hell you would do with oh god, caffeinated, sugar-filled death.
Turn out like the rest of us.
But the priest class, I think it's probably got one more edit left in it.
You say that, but we said that how many times now?
I think we're gonna do it another time after this, but this will solidify what it's supposed to do and then get it done.
The preacher's been on a long journey, though. Hey, V, I'm gonna put a temporary assignment of entertainment to you.
Oh boy.
Sorry, man.
Hey, I did it. Don't throw a harpoon into him.
Harpoon!
He's saved!
Stop it.
Hey. Oh, buddy.
Oh gosh, it all broke down.
That's the first moment.
Try. Now let's have to try.
Live on the internet, we have a baby accident.
So yeah, the priest is supposed to,
Hey.
mechanically, it is supposed to be able to turn off other people's mechanics. And that's mechanically being a hang-up for us right now.
Yeah, it's
So-
tough to balance counterspell the guy.
Yeah, it's a little too slow on one end and a little too much output on the other end, and so it's really hard to tweak it. Thematically, he's the Rhubezhal guy who is fighting against the darkness, but rather than the other two who have darkness powers, he actually is utilizing dogma and doctrine and a bit of actual faith healing, if you will, to actually counter.
I always saw him as kind of a rhetorician.
Yeah.
He'll, well, that's my goofy perspective. Is he's kind of he'll blather something that down.
Yeah.
I also had the imagery when we first put the priest together. When we started this journey, as half Van Helsing, half like Warhammer Fantasy priest, where the rhetoric matters, but he's still got to be the Aegis as well.
Yeah.
So it's
He has to be a true believer.
Heart faith heal.
There you go.
There you go. Got the plug thing for the
Plug
baby
the boss. There we go.
horse.
Nope, goes in the hole. All right, sweet. Woo!
We're safe again.
All right, cool.
Okay.
For another
So-
5 minutes.
That was a threat 3 boss right there.
Yes.
That was.
Good thing we all took professions.
Wait, how many of us have jobs?
I'm retired. Shut up.
Yeah, well, Tony doesn't have a job. He works in music.
Now he's gonna go
I
to
get
school to do
paid.
some real.
I get paid.
You get paid to what?
Exposure bucks.
Exposure bucks. Yes.
Is that where you flash people and then you mug them?
No.
About the same.
It's worth much less.
It's where he's a musician getting paid to build models.
Getting paid to paint.
Anyway, sorry, but the preacher went from awkward mechanically, and as you described, Tony, even the original set was too long to set up. It took way too long in the actual game turns, like in combat, to get his trick to go off to shut another NPC down. But it was hard to balance that against how powerful we wanted his trick to be. Like for instance, the master preacher, when that guy goes off, he just turns off everything but your ability to make dice pools on characters.
Yep.
And we kind of want him to do that. It's a master school ability, so it's supposed to be a little crazy. But B, his theme should be control. We think we streamlined it, and then we tested it, and I'm having doubts. He, right now, after 2 iterations, builds a pool resource using a dice roll based on his oratory. Because he's supposed to be preaching. So he goes, and he rolls dice against the TN to create a tag on himself. And his margin of success on the tag becomes a resource that he can just distribute as an interrupt, whenever he wants to interrupt an action, to increase the defensive capabilities of his allies. It's a cool idea. The problem was we're testing it at master level with, 8K4s and 9K4s and 10K5s. And so he's like, yeah, making this tag's like, it's a TN10. I only got like 65 of these preacher points. At one point I had V dead to rights. Like, it was one of those GM moments where the frickin' murder marmoset Vermintide got a really good roll on V, and it was high enough that the preacher couldn't stop the attack because I exploded a couple of my 10s. I was like, alright, cool. And then I went to roll damage, And for damage, the guys count as wielding a
You got
fencing
a
weapon.
52.
It was 52 damage on the fencing attack because they have claws. So I had a really high damage rate for my tiny ass damage pool, and it was just slightly low enough to exact zero the preacher's pool for interrupt. So I had V for like 3 dramatic wounds. Just no, I don't think so. Jeebus says no.
On top of the one I already had, it would have been unconscious.
Oh man, I was both proud and very sad all at the same time.
Because these are also tricks you get to use.
That's actually the big problem. So I want to make sure that the schools are balanced because they're available to NPCs, and a Threat 5 villain can have a master school. So I don't want my Threat 5 villain to go, "Hey, party, take a nap." Oh god, that almost happened too. I forgot. He tried to blow tags to affect everyone in this conversation with his oratory with his preacher.
Yeah, that came up to a wrench in the face that we had to iron out right then and there.
One oratory use turning off 13 NPCs worth of abilities. Nope. Checking that. That's a little too much output. Nope.
Yeah, that also blew up into a conversation about tag interaction and what we wanted tag interaction to be.
Yeah, I spent 4 hours today rewriting tagging, and I'm still not done yet.
But we did decide it deserves its own damn chapter.
Yes.
It's an important part of the system.
It's dare I say the most integral part of the entire system.
It's
Everything operates on it.
damn near yes, actually.
Core mechanics.
Yeah, how about that? Developing a unique version of something that let's not beat around the bush. We essentially stole it from another game system, and we've been adopting it, and then culturing it, loving it, and then we gave it a name and some dog tags. And
It's complete. It's a
we hate
completely
it.
different animal now. It shares the same name, sort of, but it's a whole different monster.
It is based off of a similar principle.
we stole it from Fate.
Yes.
We didn't like go in whole aspect, but we liked the idea that you could tag aspects in a scene, that you could tag things on a character sheet, and what we did was we took those base mechanics, and over the last 2 years we've ran with them to the point where they're not joking. It's right now tagging eats up 7 pages of our beta test rulebook. The different kinds, additional mechanics attached to them. I just had to add sticky tags and stackable tags back into the rulebook again.
Wow.
Because without them, the preacher really doesn't work.
Yeah.
Preacher needs the sticky tags to spread the faith, and he needs the stackable tags so that he can actually operate the other. Well, Ethan's character needs the stackable tags to operate the other half of his curriculum. So.
Yeah, we saw stackable tags work to great effect with Kyle's character.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Kyle was able to effectively. He's a field commander, so he shouted to everybody in order to create a tag on the entire scene, and which gave up the tag was a stackable tag, and it allowed us to then take from it to utilize it on martial actions.
So that's not a stackable tag. That's a variable tag. He did use tag stacking in the scene though. He actually used it twice with one of his skills. What you're talking about is a value tag.
Oh yeah.
He has Kyle put in reference. He has something called Tactician. Tactician puts a tag on himself that gives him something called Tactical Brilliance. Right, brilliant tactician, brilliant strategist. And people can borrow if they deplete the value on that tag to increase their output. It's like the preacher, but in reverse. The trick was he needed a really high value because he was supporting so many characters. Because one of our other characters, Dave Small, brought freaking 16 characters about. No, he brought 17 characters.
Yeah.
He brought 17 damn characters because of some jank he did.
You let him do social stuff once, and suddenly he makes all the damn friends in the game.
Yeah. I guess actually making them still counts, right?
This is how we get NPCs.
This is how we get NPCs. But he really needed a high value on that to make it worth it. Because he wanted to make those firearms attacks amazing, right?
Yeah.
So he didn't believe in his ability to just roll for his tag to make the value high enough. So what he did was he used tag manipulation to snowball one tag's benefits into another tag's benefits into another tag's benefits with an assist from an NPC over the course of what, 3 turns?
Yeah,
Oh,
it took 2.5 turns.
2.5 turns, and then he built this enormous tag on the scene. It was because in our game, tags don't just get activated to give a bonus. You can invest in your tag by making the target number to create it higher and higher. Each raise you make, which adds 5 to the difficulty, adds appreciably an unkept dice worth of mechanic to a tag. So, like for instance, if you have a tag in the scene and you just kind of bop it as part of an action, it gives you plus 1k0. If you burn the tag, make it unusable by anybody else, it gives you 1k1. That's a generic, normal tag, TN 20 to make. There you go. He ended up building, was it a TN, was it 40?
Yeah, it was like a 35 or 40.
It was something dumb.
Something dumb.
He built this ginormous tag all for the dice bonus, right? So that he could look up to the sky where this brilliant tag was, burn it. Using his school, he gains an extra 1k1 because he was also a Master Eisenhand, and that's their master ability. And he threw all of that into his dice roll to make the value amount for his Brilliant Tactician. And so you guys had like 70 points to put wherever you wanted in any of your attacks or damage rolls or... Oh my god.
Dave, why'd you let him spirit bomb?
That's what it felt like.
Yeah. Just sat there and screamed at you for like 4 sessions.
It was great.
Sessions?
No,
Well, it feels weird because when you see Kyle's brain go off, or if you see someone else's brain go off when they're doing something, their first actions look ridiculous. Because you see the Kyle, who's like he's a rifleman, right? And he's like, bam, I shot my rifle. And so I'm going, all right, Kyle's going to reload that for a couple turns. That's going to be fine.
Nope.
And then Kyle like basically drops the rifle, lets the little rat thing steal it, doesn't care, doesn't chase after him, and goes and puts a tag on something. Like, Kyle, what are you doing? And Kyle's like, don't worry about it, I got it. Put it this way, Kyle's also like 7 feet tall and 500 pounds. He's
For a
basically,
man.
he's the ogre from Blood Bowl. He has the same dimensions. So watching this big guy huddled over our table do this really delicate, fine thing with his character, as opposed to blow gigantic holes in the bad guys, was really confusing. Then another turn comes around, and he's just like, no, I'm doing stuff in the background. I'm like, Kyle, people are dying around you. I just killed yet another one of Dave Small's brutes. Yay! He got back up. Boo! And so I'm trying my best to murder the party, and there's dramatic wounds flying everywhere, right? And Kyle's still building little tags, and then he throws that big dumb one. And I'm like, what the balls just happened to me? And I didn't even know what he was going to use it for. I was like, Kyle, what are you doing? He was like, what was that, well-organized defense or something he called it? And he throws this ridiculous tag into the air. He's like, not on a person, not on his rifle, not on... Just, it's up there in the scene. There you go. It encompasses the whole scene. Kyle, what are you... And then he hit me with the tactical brilliance. And then everything started dying. He spent 2 turns making sure, and he's still got value left, because like I said, we ended that halfway through that fight. I think he's still got like 30-some points of that tactical brilliance left.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, another super important value tag is grapple.
Oh yeah.
And grapple,
My favorite.
Hey, look, we wrestled a lot with grapple.
You mean you hugged rodents to death?
I hugged rodents to death, and it worked. It was super effective.
Well, how would you compare it versus D&D grapple, or like GURPS grapple, or like Risk grapple?
all those horrible grapples.
Oh yeah, or White Wolf grapple?
Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with any of those systems.
Oh yeah, I forgot, you're the role-playing dude, weren't
Yeah.
you?
Yep.
Yeah, he's not a very eclectic nerd.
I think it
Most
flows
of those
a lot
grapples
better.
are let's go cuddle in the corner and nothing happens.
No. But at least 3 of those grapples are let me download the flow chart so then I can follow this crap and make my head hurt. At least this one, functions.
Yeah,
And
really.
It doesn't take a ridiculous amount of time.
It doesn't take a master RPG player to figure out how grapple works.
Yeah, the new guy levitated towards it pretty quickly.
And then you take new grapple and make it look like a bottle of Diet Coke full of Mentos.
Dude, it was rough. Because, well, there again, we're testing the master level players. Jerkbag over here got a 66.
Yeah.
on his grapple for his value on the grapple. And so here's my squad of Vermintide. I'm like, I'm gonna wreck your day! And I selected him and I was like, yeah, Vermintide, we're gonna kill you in a while. And he goes, grapple the whole squad. I was like, that's ridiculous, but it's master level, so sure. Let's do this thing. And so he uses his grapple, gets the 66 for the value. Put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen. The grapple value is depleted so that he can pick and choose his interrupts. So when it's not his turn, he can, a number of times, say, I want to pick this much of my grapple value, deplete it from the value, and then serve it as a penalty to you for any of your martial attacks or transits. And so he sat on these marmosets, and they're like, I'm going to kill you! And the first time I was really dumb. I made a raise. I was like, I made a raise. Because I was like, I want to attack you. And he's like, I'm going to use my passive defense. I'm not going to actively defend. That would cost me an interrupt. Interrupts cost you your future actions. That's why it's valuable. They're not just given willy-nilly. Every interrupt you take that's not on your turn costs one of your 2 actions. So you get a maximum of 2 unless you do something janky. This guy over here is like, you can go after my TN20 huge
25.
monsters. 25. 20, that's right, the other thing. I kept hitting 24. So I went after his TN25, and I was like, yeah, I got like a 40. He goes, you miss. And then just depletes some of his grapple. I'm like, okay.
No, you ended up getting a 30, 32?
32.
Just enough to barely hit and make that raise. And you went, yeah! So happy. Deplete 3.
Yeah.
Oh, sad rats.
So let me get this right. All the little disgusting Woody's trash pandas run onto you and you grab them all by their goddamn tail?
Yes?
You're dumb.
No, the best part was how he did it thematically. He grabbed, because you didn't grab the little squirrely things that steal your crap. Those guys are still around. He didn't give a crap. He doesn't have any trappings.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks to the edit in the system, you can no longer steal a fist. So he grabbed one of the Vermintide, the actual damage dealing squad,
ones,
the 10-man death squad, grabs it, and then uses stealth to slink off with them. And then over the course of the fight, every turn he just squeezes one to death and keeps them all hugged. Everybody else is fighting for their lives and throwing big tags in the sky, and there was so much firearms fire at rodents, it was amazing. And there were people chasing rats around the thing. Tony's just in this corner going, shh, shh.
Oh, my dreams now.
I was just picking up like a trash bag, like
great.
using the harpoon as a stick. Stab,
great.
pick up. Stab,
Yeah, you have the harpoon sausages thing, or the shish kebabs.
And then this guy's over here struggle snuggling them all to death.
Shh.
Just petting them on the top of the head. Stab.
Emotional call him dork.
It was appropriate.
It was awesome because the brute squad could not do anything. They couldn't leave. They couldn't talk. They couldn't fight. They just sat there and died.
You know what they did? They ate 10 of your turns. That's it.
Whatevs, I'm a social character.
I still have 2 drama dice. I still have 2 drama dice, so if I want you to just be in that corner, I'll be like, hey, Tony, there's 10 more.
That's okay. I'm still waiting to do that to one of your Threat 4, Threat 5 henchmen.
Oh, the thing is that I think they can handle it better. They're still not
Probably.
going to be as mobile, but they're going to punch through the grapple a lot faster than a little Threat 3 dude would.
Yeah.
So, I'm not terribly worried about the over-effectiveness of it.
But then grapple can be added to. So.
Yes, it can, but that's also time consumption on your part.
Yep.
And you got to remember, for me, if I want to try to break a grapple, so you're adding to the grapple, but I can always, during my activation as my complex action, attack you, and then as my simple action, attempt to leave. And if I leave, I break the grapple, your value's gone, right? And if I attack you, you have to spend the grapple to maintain the grapple. Otherwise, I'm going to hit you and do damage. So I'm not really fussed about it when you're talking like a Threat 4 villain who's going to sit there and be like, here's AK-4. Alright, I passed by like 20. You want to spend some of that? Okay, cool. After that, I'm leaving. You going to stop me? Alright, that's how much you got to spend. There you go. Have a nice day.
Yep.
It'll go a lot faster. Besides, I have Killer Moose.
Ooh, spooky moose.
The grapple mechanics are still brutal, but the other thing the grapple mechanics do not do is prohibit other things from interfering with the grapples. So that's sort of awkward.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm having happy marmoset time over in a corner. If you weren't stealth, it would be easy to just come up and like bite you or stab you or throw a moose at you, but you're all being hidden in the corner. Because you're a master, you're not a... It's harder to find you. I have other easier prey. Like Dave Small's Brutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Dave Small's Brutes.
That was actually a really... Oh, that was actually a really cool thing, by the way. Was watching his... he tailored all of his Brutes to be soldats, because that's the way the original Feldherr worked. And he got 3 squads of these things. And then he bought a henchman with a bow. This guy, he didn't even make raises to increase his damage. So he's throwing 1k1 damage off of this bow. And it's like a threat 3 henchman, so he's 6k3 to attack. Twang! 1k1 damage! But the way the soldats work is whenever anybody makes a range attack, they can use an interrupt to shoot with them. And so he set up his squads, and Kyle, who is also basically he's a soldat.
Yeah.
And they had arranged it in this really complex way to where they were rotating through the squads. Because after you shoot a firearm, you have to reload the son of a bitch. And like the soldats, they take far less time, but they still eat time. They take roughly a round and a half to reload a rifle, where most people would take like 2-3 rounds to reload a rifle. And with that in mind, with all the raises, he and Kyle as players teamed up and managed to make this weird shooting gallery out of all of their characters and their NPCs, to where they were firing every turn, but it was kind of weird because it would switch from this squad's going to fire, that squad's going to assist. Cool. That squad's going to interrupt when that guy over there fires now, and then this squad's going to do this, and it felt like a bunch of gears going together properly. Because they'd have to change whether they were firing as an interrupt or firing primary every time they got their weapons loaded. It was really nifty.
We invented the Soldat Gatling gun.
Yes! To shoot rats.
To shoot rats, yes.
Many Vermintide and many night thieves died that day to really expensive guns at point blank range. Oh, that was the other problem too, is Kyle ranged his rifle and it ranged 2.
Oh.
And so he kept having to rearrange his rifle whenever I moved stuff around so he could shoot. That was funny.
That might be an interesting concept that they don't know about yet.
Oh, the ranging?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We made a very successful change to range attacks to balance out the fact that it's a ranged weapon, but it needs some sort of drawback. Now you have to sight your weapon. That's why we were comfortable, because we're going to be doing technological upgrades. This is why I felt more comfortable having just one firearm in the base rulebook, and then getting more complicated later, is because originally the difference between the pistol and the rifle was the range, right? But now what it is when you have your firearm, you have between 0 and 4, and you get to pick where it's ranged to, right? The rifle is designed to be ranged to, and then you pick what zone it best shoots into. A 0 obviously shoots at point blank best. 1, next zone, 2, another zone further out is where its sweet spot is. Every step off of that sweet spot adds 5 to your target number to hit. So Kyle, like I said, got his rifle and ranged it to 2. And so his rifle always was at plus 10 TN to hit at point blank range. And so he was using actions to crank his rifle back down to range 0 instead of in addition to making tags. So he basically shot like twice in the whole fight off of 2 different guns, because it took him so long to get his rifle to where he wasn't like needing a 40 to hit a rat. Now, if them rats was at distance, they was going to be dead. But them rats was all up on his toes chewing them off, so he had problems with that. But we found that mechanic to be super viable because like say Duffy wants to buy a firearm for his character. He gets to choose when he buys the firearm if that firearm is a sniper rifle or a blunderbuss or anything in between. But every time he wants to change its usefulness, he has to like crank it to a different range. And the TN for adjusting is based off of your original and adds 5 per zone you range it into. So, like, for Kyle, he only needed a 10 to range his rifle in, but it takes a complex action to do it, so it basically wasted a turn. So, it was just time spent. It was really nice. And from last night's discussion about artillery in the game, I think we finally got artillery nailed down too.
Sweet.
Artillery is 10k 10 damage.
Ow.
It attacks everyone in a zone, friend or foe. Doesn't care. It also has a range of 6.
Huh. Okay.
So if you want to grape shot somebody, that means you've taken the time to range that cannon 5 steps? No, 4, 6, all 6 steps. You have to range all 6 steps. So you made a TN30 as a complex action, if not higher, because you may not even have the skill. And then you attacked your zone.
Oh, this sounds like a bad plan.
Good luck with that. Don't die.
That's what Soul Dog are for, right?
Yes. The trick with ranged weapons, they disallow active defense unless the person doing the active defense bribes the person shooting them. So cannons, if they get ranged in properly in a scene, are ultimately lethal. Like 10k10 is not going to kill a solidly built character in one shot, but it will take you the hell out of a fight. And the trick behind that is you're heroic, so you're not getting hit by the cannonball. Not that we're actually shooting cannonballs; they're basically like mortars, is what we've designed. They're basically horizontal firing mortars is the basic technology. So it goes boom, everybody gets hurt a lot, big fragmentation, fun ball.
Yeah,
And
shrapnel.
if you're a threat to henchman or less, you're basically pate.
Mm-hmm.
The trick with that is that cannons are horrifyingly merit expensive, and they're a pain in the ass to reload.
Yeah.
Cannons currently are a TN20 for difficulty for reload progression. That's TN20 for 10 steps, but you can make raises to do more than 1 step in a go.
Oh, cannons are a thing.
But once you get them loaded, fun times. So that's why we think that cannons are going to be a fun thing to balance in. Mostly they're going to be used in naval combat, which means they'll use a completely different rule set because naval combat is a macro scale part of the game. But in naval combat, they're just throwing dice equal to the battery on the ship, so it's a lot easier to handle.
Yeah.
But yeah, cannons and scenes, probably not recommended for regular use.
No.
Yeah.
No, ever.
Ever.
Well, no.
Against
they have
zone
to-
monsters.
They have to be there as part of the setting. I don't expect anybody to. It's the elephant gun.
Yeah.
You know, if you expect to be reasonably using these things constantly, I'm sorry, the GM's gonna do terrible things to you.
The fun part is
as should happen.
right.
Yeah.
The fun part about a cannon is when they're not attached to a ship, their merit costs 16 by math.
Yeah.
Which means it's not possible for even the richest character in the world to just wield one in their back pocket. That was by happenstance. That was just by the dice math and the way it was working. Because the maximum number of inventory slots you can have in a character is 15. Being the cannon magically is costing 16, that means you have to pull it out of your organization, and it ate just as many slots in your organization as your ship did. Ouch. And then you fire it, and then at the end of the scene it goes back in your organization. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Not fun times.
Not fun times. Oh, and it burns ammunition trappings. So you still have to burn, you have to pull it and ammunition out of the organization.
So
Then you
not,
have to load it.
not going to be used terribly regularly.
No, but I mean, for those Zorro moments, it's hilarious to know how the mechanics would work.
Or ship to ship. I mean, completely reasonable and decent.
Or
Yeah.
ship to bar.
Things. But we don't actually intend to have them mainline the game. And in fact, we don't really intend cannons to come in until, like I said, later. Right now, we want to settle with the generic firearm and see what our beta testers and players alike do with it. That's the whole idea. Where do we go from here, guys? What kind of
Well, is there anything specific you want to talk about? Because I'm worried about over flooding with a long video/audio.
We're at an hour and 8 minutes.
Wow.
I think
We
we're.
did good. You want to try it? Call it here and see if people
Yeah.
like it?
Sure.
Well, guys, if you liked it, let us know. hatsgames@gmail.com, or go to the Patreon and sponsor us, and then let us know there. Or, which is what we'd prefer because we need to pay for more art. By the way, we need to get them more art. We have to get a hold of Josh.
Okay.
Please, soon.
Okay.
We have art. We haven't digitized it. It's in a notebook, and our artists' hands things. They have hands?
Yes,
In
they have hands.
processing.
Are you
I
sure?
thought you had just flappers that you use to make art
No,
with.
hands.
Oh.
See?
Phalanges.
Phalange, it's got noodles on the end of his flappers. But in any case, let us know. And also let me know if you're interested in any of the Dime novels from the last 2 months. We have 2 stories available to anybody who wasn't on our premiere. So if you just get a hold of us and say, hey, what about that Dime novel? Or hey, we liked or did not like this about your podcast. We will make adjustments. We are learning, and we're hoping you're enjoying listening to the process. Adios.
Laters.